Rudeus and the group arrive at Wind Pool. The group decides to travel the continent by boat, but the boat is expensive for them because Rudeus is a supermodel. When the human god makes an appearance in front of him and orders him to buy food for him and the group from a specific area, Rudeus obliges and goes to the store to buy food. At the market, Rudeus finds a hungry woman and Rudeus gives her food out of pity. This touches the hungry woman's heart, so he decides to reveal his true identity. She explains that he is the demon emperor. She even bestows a special power on Rudy in recognition of his generosity. The special powers help Rudeus to see the future for a few seconds. While Rudeus is trying to use the power, he saves a man who was about to be harmed. This helps Rudeus gain the knowledge to use powers. Rudeus meets with his group and explains his plan to sell everything he can to raise funds for Rudeus's ticket. Rudeus does not like the idea, so he stops him from doing so. Just as the two are busy in conversation, the man from the earlier scene, who was saved by Rudeus, approaches him. Roxy, Elena, and Talhand go to a club where Roxy is invited to join a party, but she refuses as she claims herself to be a member of the A team. The following day, the trio decides to learn everything they can about Rudeus. When the group gathers at night to share what they have, Roxy reveals the presence of a devil named Dead End in the village and everyone fears him. Talhand interferes and gives more details about the group. Roxy warns everyone not to bother them. The next day, when Roxy is walking near the seaside, she remembers Rudeus when some kids passed through her. Not only that, but she also runs into the Dead End group. On the other hand, Gallus and Rudeus make an agreement in which he promises to help Rudeus cross the sea while Rudeus has to free the slaves. Rudeus accepts and works according to the plan. At last, Rudolph succeeds in freeing all 5 of the small kids and the dog. Rudeus was caught in the process, but he was not taken seriously as she looked like a child. Yet he was still captured. He wakes up in a cage. Rudeus eventually meets Geese. They both introduce each other. Geese tells him that he gambled in a game and was caught. Rudeus declares himself innocent and tells him about the 5 children. While waiting for his friends, Rudeus asks Geese if he has seen anyone, but he denies it. During their conversation, he describes his escape strategy, which includes setting fire to the village. Just as he completed the sentence, the whole city was set on fire, which provoked Rudolph to use his magic and save the village. He does so, and at the end, he sees the 5 children being taken hostage. Geese tells Rudeus that his friends were on their way to help him, but he stopped them, indicating that they are in danger. Geese offers Rudeus to change sides as it would benefit him, and he should let him sell the 6 children. Rudeus declines and they got into a fight. When Rudeus is about to lose the fight, the monster that he saved earlier comes to ask for help, making Geese run away. The village gets attacked by a group led by Ghislaine, but Rudeus is able to win the fight. Eris is being secretly watched by Rudeus. Rudeus then jumps out of the box and apologizes. Rose and Grace are jailed while Rudeus works with tribe members. Rudeus helps the sacred beast while Eris helps the female beasts learn human language. Ayers then rushes Geese and speaks loudly about Gillen's qualities, supported by Rudeus. Eris learns that Gillen is a goose when Minotona and Tersena approach her to learn about Gillen. Upon insisting, Eris agrees to teach Gillen's swordsmanship to Minotona. Goose practiced alongside the terrified beast and Rude observed both of them. It's been 3 months and Minotona have gained a good handle on swordsmanship. The season changes as Eris has to leave. Minotona then tells her father about her amazing learning experience from Eris. Geese the girls that Gillen was taken away by a roamer. Minotona meets Teresina and Eris in her room, apologizes, and shows her the Redu statue that she made. The other day, Eris and the Geese had a sword fight which she lost, after which they left for their next destination and were accompanied by the Geese and Rudeus. During their journey, they also find a stone with the names of the 7 strongest gods, which is also an inspiration for Rudeus. During their journey, Grace leaves for his destination city. Now Rudeus and Eris are accompanied by Rudeus. They have Melis Kingdom where they choose to stay in order to improve Rudeus's distorted image. Rudeus presents the idea of taking a day off to write letters to his family to locate them. Rudeus then discovers some kidnappers and chases them, fighting to free the child. During this fight, he interacts with 2 beautiful girls and is accompanied by their boss, who attacks and warns Rudeus. During the fight, Rudeus becomes aware that the person is his father. The man is named Paul. Both of them had a conversation about how he managed to get here. This engages them in a fight where Rudeus uses his wind magic and the evil eye. Soon Rudeus gets surrounded by all the people and gets interrupted by his sister Nan. Paul says that he left a note for Rudeus at the Psan port before he could leave for Vona village, which Rudeus had skipped because he thought that the place was a safe haven. Rudeus worries about Salvi and Paul, tells him that Lily Asha and his mom are also missing as many people have been displaced at Moana village. Rudeus feels ashamed of himself and withdraws. It is shown that Paul's village gets destroyed and his family, along with other villagers, gets displaced into far-flung areas. After seeing the destruction, Paul forms a team to help people unite with their family members, but he is still unable to locate his own family, which makes Paul a drug addict. Grease meets Paul at a dance show. He told her that Rudeus was very talented, survived the demon garden, and also protected the life of a girl. Instead of being angry, he should be relieved that the Rudeus is safe. Paul then puts his ego aside, meets Rudeus, and apologizes right away. There he also thanks Rudyard for protecting Paul. Rudeus then commits to taking Eris back to Fatova while simultaneously finding his own family. Rudeus then observes the sad face of his father and recalls his memories of a previous broken friendship with a dear friend. Both of them get reunited in a very emotional way, which gives Rudeus a lot of strength to continue his journey. After this, Rudeus decides to continue his journey towards his destination. Rudeus, Eris, and Rudyard travel further into the central continent where they encounter an anonymous man who offers Rudeus a duel. Rudyard gave Rudeus his statue after losing him. This was followed by a series of men ready to fight Rudyard. Rudeus and his partners are on their voyage further into the Central Kingdom. Eris and Rudeus, except for Rudyard, suffer from travel sickness. Rudeus also travels to Rwanda, and he loves to eat rice in his meals. Rudeus also thinks about his family members and gets excited to meet them. Nelpera insists Roxy meet her family. He also made Roxy realize that she is mature and he has changed a lot over time. Nelpera flattened Roxy because he too had a family but still met them despite the inconvenience, and she should meet her family despite the fact that she lacks telepathy. During her visit to her village, she saw people communicating via telepathy. There she saw some children playing, and after following them she found her childhood-made stone drawing, but the telepathy communication barrier made it difficult for her to interact with them and their mother. There she also found her house, and during her meet-up with her family, after leaving, Roxy again leaves for her search operation. Rudeus criticizes the human god in his world, saying that he had to fight his dad and live like a prisoner just because of him. Because of him, the human god made him realize he had a demon eye. Rudeus asked for advice to locate his family in return for trust in him, which Rudeus affirmed. The human god showed him a vision to locate Asha in the Shiron kingdom by keeping his name secret. After a long journey, they reached the capital of the Shiron kingdom, where Eris said that she wanted to meet his master. Rudeus told both of them that his younger sister Aisha and he made Lilia, and asked for help from Rudyard and Eris, which they agreed to. Moreover, he thought of writing a letter to Roxy, but thought that she may have already found the family members. Rudeus noticed that he was being followed, so he protected himself by making a wall with his magic. He also heard the voices of a small girl named Aisha. Rudeus and Ayesha managed to escape, after which Aisha introduced herself. He also promised to save Aisha's mother. Rudeus asked Eris and Rudyard to keep his identity hidden. The next day, Rudeus was called into the castle by Roxy. Ginger took Rudeus to an unknown place where he saw Lilia and was thrown into a king's trap by the 7th king of the Shiron kingdom. Prince Pax asked Ginger about Aisha and asked to bring her. Rudeus then started to judge the human god's pieces of advice. The scene shows how Paul's family was displaced due to Manaclamti. Due to this event, Lilia and Aisha reached the Shiron kingdom after a very long journey. Lilia reached the castle and inquired about Roxy. In jail, Rudeus began to enjoy himself and started to call his friends for help. There he also met Zenoba, the 3rd king of Chiron, who showed him the Rudyards and Roxy statues and told him that he made them. Eris and Rudyard, along with Aisha, reached the castle of Rudeus. Eris, after listening to the fact that Rudeus has been engaged, tries to save her, but the guards ask her to stop and request that Rudyard save his family, which were captured by Pax. Rudyard asked Eris to stay with Aisha as he leaves. Rudeus offered Zenoba a studentship in return for freeing him. Zenobia captures Pax and brings him back. Ginger tried to stop him, but he did not listen. In the meantime, Eris came and told Ginger that Rudeus had gone to save the families of the guards. Pax then tortured them to force him to free Rudeus, which ends up dislocating the Pax arm. Finally, all the families are now free. Before departing, Lilia with a box containing Roxy's pants and a necklace gift for Rudeus. Lilia also told Rudeus that Aisha never understood her brother's good deeds. Meanwhile, Aisha requests assistance in planning a trip. Rudeus decided to leave, but at the end, Rudeus is on the phone discussing teleportation. On the other hand, we see Rudeus and Eris, who are unconscious and do not know the reason for this incident. We have to travel back in time to when Eris, Rudeus, and Rudeus are on their journey after traveling. Rudeus, Eris, and Rudeus are eating food as Eris says that I want to hunt the dragons. Eris and Rudeus are both training hard, but Rudeus easily defeats Eris. Rudeus commends Eris for understanding that even if she loses, she can still call herself a warrior. They resume their journey when Rudeus and Eris become afraid and stop, so Rudeus inquires as two dragon gods pass by. Knowing that Rudeus has a connection with a human god, a fight starts between the dragon god and Rudeus. Rudeus is knocked out and injured after the fight, and Rudeus nearly dies but is saved by the dragon god. Rudeus wakes up Eris and they embrace each other. When old Rudolph looks out the window, he sees every character from the present world looking at him in surprise. Rudeus tries to comprehend what he is seeing when he wakes up from the nightmare. Rudeus then inquires of him about the 7 gods of old. But Rudeus shifts the subject to how the city's image is improving for the people. But soon Rudeus goes back to sleep. The next group of 3 starts their journey. They eventually stop at Rudeus' hometown. Rudeus then thanks Rudeus for all the help he has provided to him. This surprises Rudeus as he denies doing anything for him and claims that it was a human god who helped them. Rudeus does not like this and tells Rudeus that he does not believe in a human god as he has never seen him. After their short conversation, Rudeus parted ways, making the other 2 sad. Eris and Rudeus continue their way and Eris sees Gelen. Eris asks Alphosis to tell her about the death, and Alphosis breaks the terrible news of the deaths of Lord Phillips, Lord Saros, and Hilda. Not only this, Alphos tells Eris that soon she will be captured and sacrificed. This makes Gelen angry as he does not want to let Eris go. At night, Eris and Rudeus make out. Eris is nowhere to be found the next morning. It turns out she has left for a mission, the details of which are kept secret. Eris and Gelen continue their journey. On the other side, Rudeus becomes depressed after Eris leaves. Rudeus has a flashback to when he used to bully kids at school and would lock himself in his room for days. After coming back to the present, Alphen visits Rudeus. He asks for his help as the village is short on food and wood. First, Rudeus ignores him, but after some time he agrees when Alphen tries to blackmail him by spreading fake news about Eris while Eris and Gelen are trying to catch the beast. On the other hand, Rudeus saves some people from the beast and introduces himself as a member of Dead End. He also talks about him being a superhero. The camera shifts back to Eris. The people ask Rudeus to show his headstone, which he does when he notices that they are not afraid of him. Eris is remembering Rudeus and the way he always helped her. She finally accepts her love for him. The scene shifts back to Roxy, who pays the Demon Empress debt. To thank Roxy, he asks her to locate Rudeus and his family for her. She asks for their location. After getting information about Rudeus and his whereabouts, Roxy shares that information with Talhand and Elinessa. Alan finally makes it to the Adventurer Guild to pick up some tasks. She notices an orphan named Cliff being bullied by some boys. The boy was adopted by the church and now he is a magician. Without a second thought, she goes to help him. Instead of thanking Alan, Cliff starts accusing her, so she beats him. Alan departs when she is assigned the task of killing goblins. Cliff starts following her and requests that she let him join. He is a magician. Finally, Alan agrees. When Alan is trying to kill all the goblins, Cliff uses his magic. But she still does not think that Cliff is better than Rudeus. They then continue their journey in the forests and lose their track. Alan tells Cliff to use his magic. Alan then leaves the cliff to find a human. Alan finds 2 girls who were about to be killed, so she fights to save them. This surprises Cliff because Alan was able to beat the men. The group of 4 then leaves the forest. Alan asks Cliff about Rudeus, and then she begins talking about Rudeus.